Hey guys, welcome back. Today I am going to do a page in my traveler's notebook with this food love stamp set from Kellie Stamps, documenting just my obsession with the strawberry and waffles chocolate. Honestly, I cannot stop. But the first thing I'm going to do is a little bit of mixed media. I know that's a little bit of an oddity for me. I was just kind of feeling a little bit painty, and I've got a couple of new paints that I wanted to try out, so I figured I would just have a go. I have not prepped my traveler's notebook in any way, shape or form. This is just a notebook that I've made myself, so the paper's quite thick. It's about 160 GSM, just plain white kind of. It's in between cardstock and paper basically, but I haven't used any gesso or anything like that. I'm not using a whole lot of liquid media, just these paints. I am using this leopard spot stencil from scrapbook.com. And I'm just using a little Distress Ink blending tool with a foam pad on it to do the application. Like I say, I'm not a big mixed media person, so I don't have a whole lot of supplies. I'm just working with what I've got. And this paint, it's Strawberry Daiquiri by Dilutions, and the camera just will not pick up the fact that it is neon. So it's coming off like really tame on camera. I can assure you, in real life, it is neon red, and I love it. Now, I just did the paint on sort of the top right and the bottom left-hand corner. I haven't really got a plan for this page at all, but I'm just kind of going with it. We'll see how it goes. I decided I wanted to add a little bit more kind of color. I don't want a too sort of specific color scheme. I'm going for all the colors here. So I've got some Heidi Swap Color Shine in a kind of peachy color, which you can see here. It's a lovely peachy color, but in comparison to those paints, it looks like mud. In real life, it's definitely peachy. And I decided I would just do a little bit of mark making with a paint pen. This one's red. I wanted to add a little bit of kind of regular red in here, just to kind of tame down that neon a little bit, but also because the actual packaging from the chocolate in my photo has red in it. So I wanted to add some red in here. I'll add some more as the page progresses. But that's it. It didn't take a whole lot of time. Like I said, just a little bit of mixed media. I'm just dabbling in it, but it was fun actually to get out, have a little bit of painty fun. And now I've got a fun background. Don't need to use any kind of pattern paper, and I can just go ahead and really quickly put this layout together. So since I'm talking about chocolate, I decided that Sweet Story was going to be the perfect collection for this. I have grabbed out what remains of my die cut pack. There's not a whole lot left in here, to be perfectly honest. I've also got the sticker pack. I did grab out the puffy stickers, but in the end I decided to just leave everything nice and flat here. What I'm going to do, the vague sort of plan I've got in my head here, is to create a cluster behind my Instax photo, and just, like I say, add a few more other colors in here. So I'm going to add a little bit of green and a little bit of peach to kind of bring out some of the colors I've already used in the mixed media, but also just to add a bit more in the way of a not so specific color scheme. And I definitely wanted to use this acetate piece because honestly I can see me never using that one and then having to decide whether to throw it out or not. So I decided to use it today. Just had a little bit of difficulty adhering it, so I just used a bit of tape runner to adhere that behind my Instax photo. I got the tape runner in the wrong place though. Luckily it's acetate, it rubs off pretty easily, and then when I adhere my Instax photo down onto the other background piece, that will make sure that that acetate piece is fully adhered and isn't going to come off anywhere. Now I'm not adding like too much in the way of layers. I loved these little rainbows though because they had both the blue and the kind of reddy pink in there. I thought it worked really nicely accidentally with my background colors. I was a little bit disappointed. I only had two. And I'm going to add something onto the left hand side of this page, and it would have been ideal to have three. I've only got two. One is this giant cardstock piece and one is another little acetate piece. So I'm just going to work with what I've got. I'm going to add them both to the cluster up here. I also grabbed a pink label. Now, I don't think that's actually from the die cut pack. I think that was a cut apart sheet that I've just popped everything all in together. But I've only got the one, so I've trimmed that off. It's going to give me a place to do a little bit of stamping, and I can use the other half of that onto the left-hand side of the page just to kind of help tie those two pages together. So once I've added everything up here, I can see I didn't add like enough of the red dash marks down the page. I'm covering up quite a lot of the work that I've done. So I just added a few more in there so that they were actually predominant. And then I can go ahead and adhere this whole piece down onto the page. Got everything layered up nicely, and I can add that on and then work on my left-hand side. Now, like I said, I want to kind of do some stamping, but I also want to tie in some of those extra colors that I've added. So I've got some green in there as well, and I want to add some of that onto the left-hand side. So I'm just working out where I'm going to place some of these stamps, and then I'm going to use a couple of the kind of leftover pieces that I've got to add some stuff in here. This, again, I think is another cut apart piece, but it's got that same kind of tone of green in there. In fact, both sides of it were green. I decided to use the side that looks a bit like a film strip. Kind of goes with the Instax thing, and I'm going to use the other half of the label as well. I just have adhered this down too close to the top of the page, so I'm going to move it down. Luckily it came off easily enough, didn't rip up any of that mixed media. I'm going to adhere the label down on top, and then I'm going to tuck my little stamp into the kind of corner that those two pieces make. I'm going to create a much smaller cluster down here just to balance out the other side. So I'm going to add a couple of stamps. I went into my ink collection and picked out a few inks, really avoiding pink. I guess it's kind of a challenge to myself lately. I'm going to add the main stamp, which is going to act as kind of the title for the page. There's not really a particular title. I'm really just documenting a photo. And so I've stamped that one in that darker blue, which is, I think it's called Night Sky, Paris Sky, something like that. It's a Versa Magic ink. So I do have to be careful not to smudge that one. And the other couple of stamps, I'm going to stamp in a kind of a muted down teal and red. Those are both from Catherine Pooler, and just they kind of step back a little bit, so they let that other stamp become the real title of the page. And I did decide that I'm going to add an extra little stamp in here in the green, because I've only really got one piece of green on this page. I'm just going to tuck that in under my cluster there, and so that's all of my stamping done. I want to do a teeny tiny little bit of embellishment, not a whole lot, because like I said, I'm keeping this page really as flat as I can. But what I am going to do is pull out some of these stickers from the sticker book. Now I start out by adding a couple of the florals. I'm going to end up moving that little floral actually, but again it's got that peach and the green, so I'm sort of pulling away from that color scheme again, and I actually shouted with glee when I found this little rainbow sticker. I got my 3 rainbows after all. When I decided to place that down, I needed to move the little floral underneath it just to balance that out a bit. Luckily that came off really nicely. I think having the paint down there might be an advantage actually when it comes to removing things. There are these tiny word stickers in this set too, so I'm going to add 3. Funnily enough, I found all 3 stickers that managed to have some sort of the word sweet or sweetest in there. So I've added all of those. I've actually got 4 sweets on the page, which I love. The last thing I'm going to do is add 3 of these little ladybugs, purely because they're cute. They add a little bit more red, and I'm going to call my page all done. I've got to say, I'm getting a whole lot of use out of this Food Love stamp set, so if you fancy one for yourself, I have got a code for you in the description box to get you 10% off your order. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. If you want to keep watching, there are a couple more videos on screen. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.